Welcome back to my channel, Black is Black. Another episode for you. I forget what episode number this is, but it's got to be somewhere near 1,000. Yeah, right. Anyway, today's guest is Jefferson County Sheriff Jeff Bullard. How you doing, Jeff?
Good, Rich. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Um, I don't want to take a lot of your time, as I said earlier, and I've got some talking points I want to go through, and hopefully this will be educational for the viewers that I do have, and entertaining as well. So to get started, if you noticed, I commented the other day on some pictures you'd posted of the gun range activities. So I
Yeah.
wanted to. They were killing it too, weren't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They were punching holes in the target.
Yeah, punching in holes. Yeah. Anyway, really, the emphasis, I guess, on my questions now has to do with the gun laws in Illinois. And the first question I had was, do you prefer, as a sheriff, concealed carry or open carry?
Well, there's different aspects of that. There's what the law says, and then there's what's best strategy. Now, I believe as a believer in how the Constitution is written and that it should be enforced as it's written. I believe that the Second Amendment is basically constitutional carry nationwide.
Right.
I believe that that the Tenth Amendment only grants power to the states, legal authority to the states that the federal government does not have. The Second Amendment is a federal right that's supposed to be protected by the federal government. So the states really don't have lawful authority to even regulate the Second Amendment like they do in each state. But since
Right.
we are a republic where the government derives its power from the consent of the governed, right now they're doing it because we're tolerating it.
Right.
Um, but it's not something that I believe in on the legality. So I believe the Second Amendment is basically a constitutional carry law for every state, and it should get to that point. The other part of it is what's best strategy, which is probably even more important. And open carry or constitutional carry, while I believe that should be the right of every citizen, that's also, you have to understand that you're making yourself a target whenever you open carry. That people who see the open carry and I'm a bad guy and I'm getting ready to rob a place or commit a violent crime, possibly try to hurt multiple people, whatever it might be, that if I'm doing any kind of surveillance at all of my target before I hit it, that open carry people, just like an armed security guard or police officer, that I'm going to deal with those opponents before I start dealing with anyone else. So I'm not stating that we shouldn't open carry or constitutional carry. What I'm saying is that if you do, you have to be even more aware because you're announcing yourself as an opponent
Right.
right from the start. I prefer concealed carry as a strategy because then the bad guys aren't quite sure who's carrying who isn't. So, and you can see a lot of different things on YouTube where armed citizens stop violent crimes from happening, whether it's a bank robbery, armed robbery, attempted abduction, whatever it is. And you will see armed citizens use a concealed carry draw, use their environment to hide their draw from the offender and catch the offender off guard.
Sure.
So strategy wise, I think concealed carry is the best. Obviously, if you're carrying a rifle slung, not going to be able to
Right.
conceal that
Well,
very well.
I agree with that strategy. However, I was exposed to a state for a couple of years. I moved to Virginia and I had a restaurant there and it was open carry. And I had on several occasions, and normally they were older men, like cowboys, but they would come in and they were strapped. And I actually, as the owner of the restaurant, felt a sense of security because at that
Mhm.
time I had a gun, but I didn't have it legally. Um, and I don't even know in Virginia if you had to get a permit or not, thinking about it. But I know when they came in, and I've been in other restaurants and in the grocery store and seen people. And so, in that respect, it kind of gave me a sense of security. Well, something goes down, at least we got some people carrying, But on the other hand, I do agree with your strategy part that for the bad guy, it's best he not know until he's been hit. So,
Right. Yep,
yeah,
that's right. And then you get into that, like what you're talking about now. If you are in a business and you see 15 different open carry people, the bad guy is going to have to be an absolute fool to try to commit a violent crime in an environment like that, because that's
right. On the
just
other hand, the bad guy could be open carrying. So,
that is true.
yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to know. So, that brings me to another point, and I was just made aware of this recently, but I understand in Illinois that you have to have some kind of a card or something to purchase ammunition. Is that true?
Yes, it's the FOID card, which is the FOID card, Firearms Owners Identification Card, and it's Illinois is the only state that has this requirement.
And I had one, but I destroyed it when I moved to Florida.
I would
But
too.
here's my question. I'm a resident of Florida. I have family in Mount Vernon. So when I roll into Mount Vernon, I can go out to Walmart and without a FOID card buy all the ammunition I want and take it and give it to my family. Is that correct?
Well, in Illinois now they've changed the laws where when you pass on firearms and ammunition to another person, that especially with firearms, they require a person-to-person transfer. And they're getting more into the ammunition as well, also. But certainly with the firearms, you have to do a firearms person-to-person transfer. So it's something that people need to be cautious about.
Yeah, and
Of
I
course,
understand that. Yeah. Now, okay, so let's go back to the scenario. I'm in town in Mount Vernon, and I go out to Walmart because they're having a sale on 9 millimeter. And I go out there and I buy several boxes. I take it back to my family's house, and then I leave and come back to Florida, and I forgot that ammunition. Is there a possibility that my family could be in trouble if that was discovered?
well, it depends on if they have a FOID card or not, and it always ultimately boils down to who are the officers investigating and who is the chief prosecutor in the county. If the chief prosecutor is a strong Second Amendment supporter, you're not going to see them file charges on things like that, on technical violations of the law, because contrary to what the gun control people say, uh, those things are not public safety issues. Somebody who left their ammunition at their family's house and their family just aren't following to the letter what we believe are unconstitutional gun control laws in their state doesn't suddenly create this big public safety issue, because someone doing the exact same thing in a different state that has different laws, it's not violating those laws. So that we have to be very clear on those things. Just because it's violating a law doesn't automatically make it a public safety issue. It has to be looked at case by case, and especially when it comes to possessing firearms and ammunition, because it is the Second Amendment and the Supremacy Clause of the federal Constitution pretty much trumps all the concealed carry, open carry laws in each state, because the federal Constitution outranks it.
Right. And that would kind of be a tough one to prove, wouldn't it? That ammunition wasn't purchased by someone other than the resident and was just left there, inadvertently. So it'd be kind of a tough one to prove, I guess.
Yeah, correct. And because boxes of ammunition do not have serial numbers on them, so
Right.
they can.
No way to really track it to the buyer if you're from out of state. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, okay, that cleared that up a little bit, or mostly did. Now the next one I had on the issue of gun control and laws and all that. Can you explain to the viewers the legal way to carry a weapon in your vehicle?
Well, when you're talking about Illinois, it has to be carried in a manner that is not in public view. So, an example would be if a police officer stopped you in your vehicle. If the police officer could see it anywhere in your vehicle, then it would not be properly concealed. And obviously, you have the difference between if you do not have a FOID card at all, then there's a criminal violation, which again I strongly believe is not constitutional. But if you do have a FOID card, then it has to be unloaded with the ammunition next to it in the same can. It can be in the same container, like a shoebox or your center console or glove compartment, but it has to be unloaded. With a concealed carry permit, you can have it loaded in some kind of container or on your person in some form of holster or whatever, and then that's okay.
Right. So here in Florida, the difference, I guess, in the law here is a couple of things. One, even though it might be visible to an officer or any other public person, anybody outside your car, it's inside your private property. So therefore, it's not an issue. But also, it can be loaded, it can be laying in the seat and have a shop towel thrown over it, and it's concealed. So it's pretty lenient here. And another thing, right now, Florida only has concealed carry. However, there's a couple of points of law that makes it acceptable and legal to open carry. And that is if you are fishing or camping. So you know what the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment auditors, you've seen the videos, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
So these guys are going out on public piers with, an AR or something strapped to their back and a little fishing rod. And of course their GoPro camera, and so I get a kick out of those. I mean, legally they're right, but they're doing it just to aggravate. That part I don't, justify, but it is funny that under those two circumstances, you can open carry.
Yeah, in Illinois, there's different kind of exceptions where conservation law would supersede on the Concealed Carry Act. But unlike Florida, the Conservation Code is more restrictive
Right.
than the Concealed Carry Act. But there's, even with a FOID card, there are certain open carry aspects with it. If you're on your own property, your own place of business, with just a FOID card, you can open carry
Right.
in those circumstances. So
If you're a bar owner, let's say, you can strap one on if you have a FOID card and wear it in the bar.
yes.
Wow. I didn't know that. I bet most of the viewers wouldn't know that either. Probably don't see that happen a lot, but maybe. I don't know.
No, and it would only be, like you said, it would only be the owner of the business. The patrons would not be able to carry.
Not the patrons, maybe not even the staff, just the
No.
owner.
Just the owner.
Just the owner. Okay, well, that explains that. The last one I had on this issue was I'm sure you're aware of what they call the Berna launcher. It's a projectile launcher that's legal in all 50. You don't need any permits. You can order it, have it shipped. Matter of fact, I got one for my wife. But it's a non-lethal weapon. Looks like a pistol. It is a pistol for all practical purposes. You can load it with kinetic energy balls, which are nothing but a solid hard rubber ball, or you have pepper spray, or you have tear gas.
Mhm.
And it's CO2 driven. I think it holds 5 rounds. Supposedly the cartridge will shoot effectively 25 rounds, but obviously he only holds 5, so hopefully you're done with it. But the thing is when you put the cartridge in, it does not pierce the cartridge until you squeeze the trigger the first time. And it's non-lethal, and a lot of law enforcement are beginning to carry these. Are you aware of that? Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I've actually, I first saw them ever advertised on Bill O'Reilly's news as one of the commercials on there. It's not a product we use. It's not a product that I support or endorse. The problem is, and we've seen it even running into with tasers, they make tasers bright yellow, they'll make them solid black. And the problem we run into with less lethal equipment that are shaped like firearms are that you have to be extremely cautious not to grab it thinking it's the firearm, or grab the firearm, even worse, thinking it's the less lethal. And then suddenly you're using a real firearm when you think you're using something else under stress, which it's happened. There's been proven cases, very rare. But preparing for a use of force encounter, you can have any kind of data that you want to throw out there. But the bottom line is when we are preparing for a potential use of force encounter, that we prepare for the worst possible scenario to make sure that we're prepared, make sure that we can protect people. And less lethal equipment is not for that. It's not designed for that. And so I'm going to prepare for the worst case scenario that someone might be trying to seriously hurt or kill me or someone I'm with. So I'm going to have a firearm for that because I want to be able to stop that. And so now I'm going to start carrying less lethal equipment around also. And really, truly, what am I going to use that for? Is it going to be something where instead of getting into a fist fight, I'm going to use a less lethal? Because I mean, in my opinion, it diminishes or it gets people into the mindset where
they're not going to kill me.
Yeah, it minimizes what they believe they should do in a situation where actually lethal force is probably not only lawful but necessary to save their life or the life of someone else. And I'm not ruling out this equipment altogether, right. But people should be very cautious before they think that suddenly that should become their primary defense tool. And to me, I believe that would not be wise.
Right. Sorry,
no, that's all right. There's you can watch it. Police have great examples of use of force. They're the best example of use of force encounters in the nation because that's part of the job. Getting into situations, whether it's an arrest, handling a call, trying to protect someone, trying to arrest someone where force is being used, and what happens when that force is being used. And there's been many instances where a firearm has been used, has struck an offender multiple times in the center mass, the chest, abdomen area, and the bad guys kept fighting. And whether it's mental health issues or drug influence or just the person's got an extreme warrior mindset and can take a lot of pain, that where less lethal, pulling out a less lethal tool for that individual is giving that tool actually the advantage. Or giving that person the advantage. And so, like I said, I would be highly cautious before making it my primary
go-to
tool for self-defense.
Right. The only pro side I can think of is if I'm sitting here in my house, and actually this just happened to my mother. She had a home invasion, broad daylight, front window of the house over a child custody thing. The mother had lost custody of what was her great-grandchildren, and she happened to be in possession of them. And they came in, and they tried to get through the front door. They tried to get through the garage, and then they attacked the window and gained entry, come in, snatched the kids, and left. But my point being, she had a pistol, and some people are not really prepared for the mental side of shooting and killing somebody or the legal cost of defending themselves. And so as a pro to the burner, it seems like, well, at least I made an attempt before I went to lethal. And if that stops them, then great. If they overcome the pepper spray or the tear gas, you go to lethal, but at least you have that intermediary if you have the mind and control and focus to do it.
Well, and I would add to that that you have the time and opportunity for it because many force encounters happen in just a matter of seconds. And do I have the time to try a less lethal option before I can move to lethal force? And if the threat that's already being posed against me is already to the level that justifies lethal force, and I choose non-lethal force first, then then am I putting myself at a disadvantage? What you're describing with someone trying to break into the house, there might be a little bit of time to decide if it's
Little
taking
warning, yeah.
them a little bit of time to get in the house. And the most important thing, and this was defined in the police use of force Supreme Court case of Graham versus Connor, and that is every use of force has to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. And it obviously goes into a lot more detail than that. But that's the important thing to remember. Every use of force instance is not involved in some kind of cookie-cutter solution. It has to be evaluated by the factors in that particular instance on what kind of force is used.
Yes. Secondary thought I just jotted down. Have you ever heard of a guy by the name of Grady Judd?
I have. I've seen a few of his videos.
I think the funniest two, and I shouldn't say funny, I guess, but was they had a standoff issue in Polk County, down there in Florida, and the guy finally came out of the house armed, and so the deputies, and I don't know if the sheriff was there or not, but they unleashed fire on him, and the news asked why they shot him 67 times. And Grady's response was, "Well, that's all the ammunition we had."
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that interview. Yeah, that was. Yeah, he doesn't mince words.
No, and the follow-up to that was the medical examiner that said he died by natural causes. And they said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, if you get shot 67 times, naturally, you're going to die."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. I did a little research after you agreed to come on, and I was looking at the Jefferson County crime grade. I'm sure you're aware of the website. I don't remember the address to it, but it's public, and you can go on. And Jefferson County actually gets an A+. That sounds good, but then I dug a little deeper, and in 2024, all crime together, shoplifting, violent crime, property crime, cost Jefferson County $10.2 million. Sounds like a huge number, but projected for 2025 already is $676 per household. So if you do the math and the number of households you have there in Jefferson County, that number's not far off. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's like anything else. You get what you pay for, and proper public safety and community protection does require a considerable investment. Just in the 7 years I've been in office, we've added 11 deputies and about 6 correction officers to the size of the staff. We've added full-time 911 operators to improve service to the public, and we've created aggressive details and programs to try to continue to enhance service to better combat crime, and sometimes stop it before it even happens if we can help it. We've joined many different federal task forces to try to enhance our ability to apprehend offenders and investigate crimes. And but it takes money. And with a sheriff's office, you get property taxes, public safety tax, that's a sales tax, and you get other things like 5 of our 8 school resource officers are paid from our local cannabis tax.
Right.
Yeah, and then you also have our jail, which was built and designed to generate revenue for the county by being large enough to house for other counties and other agencies. So we house for our two biggest ones are Vanderburgh County, Indiana, which is over in Evansville, and the other one is the United States Marshals Southern District, and we house for them. And those 2 contracts roughly provide about $2 million a year in revenue, which is more than enough to pay for our entire jail staff.
Right.
And you
And
you
that's
take a
part
look.
of that's part of the $10 million cost is housing, feeding.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so just so
Yeah.
everybody understands. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That my budget for 2024-25 was yeah, roughly around $7.5 million, and then you have the other costs that that take place with people, with whether it's private security at their homes or what they pay in insurance, or you get all this combined cost that that drives that number up. And then of course that doesn't even include the budget for the Mount Vernon City Police Department on there as well. And so
Right.
yes, it's a considerable cost to try to keep the citizens of our jurisdiction safe, and not only keeping them safe, but helping them to feel safe.
Right. And I don't
Because,
think people understand. They hear a number like, $10.2 million, but you explained where that goes, and people need to know that because when you hear a number like that, the immediate thought is, well, that was stolen or that was, no, it's not that. It's the cost of the crime overall.
right.
Um, Speaking of housing, have you had any noticeable increase in illegals in Jefferson County?
No, that as far as seeing them maybe on our out by our interstate and possibly going into Walmart, which is close by, maybe an increase a little bit there. But as far as connected crime or community disturbances or any kind of related problem, which would be something that would put people where they
Risk.
were not at ease, where they felt unsafe. No, we don't really have anything like that, and we're thankful for that. So many other communities
Right.
do, but Jefferson County seems to not be affected by that much.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. I know I had a conversation with the mayor, and at that particular time, he kind of leaned towards, you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it came off to me like he said, well, we need some of these people to do some jobs that nobody else will do. I can't say I
Well, it
agree.
depends on Well, it depends on what kind of people you're referring to. We do not need illegal immigrants to help us with anything.
Right.
We need immigrants who want to be naturalized citizens, who go through the legal process, get a
Sure.
work visa, start the vetting process, and then understand at the end goal that whatever country they came from, they can say, I used to be from there. But as minute they raise their hand and because they become a citizen, they're no longer a citizen of that other country. They are now an American, and they
Right.
need to act like it.
And they're
And
entitled. Yeah. They're entitled
yeah,
to everything an American's entitled to. Yeah.
that's
But
correct.
prior to
But
that, no.
yeah, and we have what Jefferson County has. Jefferson County is a farming community outside of Mount Vernon, Illinois. A lot of farmland in Jefferson County, and we have some farms that do use migrant workers that are on visas, and
Right.
some of the farms do that, and it's very useful to those farms to use migrant workers on visas. I ain't got no problem with that because that's a legal process that they've started to allow them to be here for a legal and safe purpose.
Right.
But
And
anyone who's not willing to go through the legal process to be a citizen here and start that, I cannot trust their motives. I cannot trust why they're here, and they need to go.
right. Well, we certainly have plenty of the migrant workers down here in the fields. We have, all kinds of crops down here. Citrus is kind of a dying thing actually down here, but started with a lot of the orange groves, tangerines, Valencia, grapefruit, all that. Now, you see a lot of carrots and strawberries and, a lot of diversified stuff, but it's taken care of by, I see white buses, migrant workers that are, like you said, legal on visas, taken to the fields, and then they're brought back to their hotel rooms or whatever. And so certainly there is a place for that. Like I said, as long as it's done legally. Um, I'm going to try to keep it short. So I'm going to move along because we could just keep going on this one. Um, with get into the political end of it. But anyway, the word on the street has it that you like to cook.
I'm not too bad at it.
You're not
It's
too
all right.
bad,
Yeah, not too bad at cooking. I like to grill mainly, but yeah,
right? Right.
I can cook here and there. So yeah.
Well, tell me what was going on here.
Well, I have to. That is men cooking for CASA. The CASA is court appointed special advocates,
Oh, I thought it
and
meant home. I
no,
gotcha.
and,
Too common.
and it's an organization that coordinates volunteers who works with juveniles who are going through the court process, not as offenders, but they're going through it as possibly abused or neglected children. They're children who are needing help because their home situation might not be the best, different
Sure.
things of that nature. And these volunteers work with families and they work with the children and they report to the courts of the progress that's being made. And the CASA has about 4 employees plus a board, which I just got off the board this month. June was my 6th year on that board, and I just timed out because you can only do 6 years before you have to take a break. And this
You mean
is
there's
the
a term limit?
yeah, pretty much. There's a term limit for how long you be there. You can join back again after a year, but you got to take at least a year hiatus from the board.
Right. And
So
I'm looking at the photograph here, and it looks to me like you're in the old Ramada Inn or what. This
mhm.
is a holiday
Yeah, it's
pool
a
area.
DoubleTree now. Yeah.
DoubleTree.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's the DoubleTree now. And
Right.
yeah, that's so it's now been changed to cooking for CASA. So now women can get involved with men now. And this last year was the first year it was done that way. But for many years, it was just men cooking, and it was kind of the local, elected officials and businessmen and kind of different people they would recruit to come
Right.
cook for this. And it was a very large and successful fundraiser for CASA.
Good. Good. Um, got one other question about that photo is what's in the pan there?
Well, I've done it so many years, I can't remember what that would be. I
I don't know. It
think
looks like lasagna, maybe, or
that I think that was the year I did an Italian dish. I think that's what it was because I've done desserts. So they have different categories, whether it's dessert or main
oh,
course or appetizer, different things like that. So I've taken my
right.
turn at
So,
doing.
did you have like Gordon Ramsay as a judge?
No, it's nothing that fancy. It's local
Right.
judges too and
Right.
stuff, and
Right.
that's but no, I've never been good enough to win. So I just participated, but never a winner in the competition.
Right. Right. Well, anything you do for fun raises money is always a good time, and it's a good thing to do. I got one more before I let you go, and I found I steal these off of your Facebook page, obviously, your photographs, and
Yeah.
I come across this one, and I'm like, what? And who is that guy?
Glenn Luttrell, a retired car salesman, and
Yes, my
that was
father-in-law for 38 years.
was he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, he's had a little health problems. He's getting up there, but I think he they had him in a nursing home for a little bit, but I think he's back home on his own again now. So he's doing good. And shout out to Glenn. We called him Lit.
Yeah, yeah, that was taken at when it was still called oh, Bob Evans restaurant. It's now JJ's
JJ's,
restaurant.
yeah,
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 that was at their meeting that they were having there, and they wanted to come and thank me for some things that I did. So they invited me there, and
right,
Glenn presented me with that. It was a nice time, nice meeting, nice time.
right, right. All right. Well, that kind of winds it up for what I had on my talking points sheet. And I want to express my gratitude for you taking the time out to come on. Um, I know you got quite a few views the last time we did this. I don't remember the number. I should have looked it up. Uh, but it was, it was like two or 300 views, which is pretty good for a low ball program like this. But there's people that subscribe and watch, and hopefully they enjoy the content. So I do want to thank you again, Jeff, and good luck. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again sometime.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. You have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, you too, bud. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
They don't close your app.
Yeah.